Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew.
And I'm Kassy.
And this is the Culips English Podcast. Hello, Culips community. Welcome back to another brand new Culips episode. This is Real Talk, which is our series where we teach you the English expressions that you need to know for real-world situations. And joining me for this lesson is my co-host, Kassy. Hey, Kassy.
Hey, Andrew.
Kassy, could you tell us what we are going to be learning today?
Yeah, sure. Today we are going to be learning about useful phrases and vocabulary words you can use when complimenting someone's outfit or appearance.
Very nice. This is kind of a touchy subject, would you say, Kassy? Like, you have to be careful when you're doing this.
Yeah, I agree. You could easily insult someone by mentioning their appearance, even if they look good, just by being like, well, don't I usually look good? Are you saying that I look bad all of the other days? Something like that.
And I know every culture has different rules about this, what you can compliment somebody on or what you can't compliment somebody on. And so I think this lesson will be really helpful for all of our listeners out there, and we'll get started with it in just a minute. But before we do, I want to let everyone know that there is a study guide and an interactive transcript that accompanies this episode, and we highly recommend studying along with the guide and transcript. And inside the study guide, you will find detailed vocabulary explanations, real life usage examples, a comprehension quiz, and more. So it's an awesome resource, and you can download it just by visiting our website, culips.com, and signing up to become a Culips member. All right, Kassy, so let's break down exactly what we are going to do in this lesson. We're going to learn some practical expressions that you can use when you want to compliment somebody's outfit or appearance. And we'll start by listening to an example conversation. In that conversation, two friends are meeting at a fancy black tie event. A fancy black tie event. Maybe, Kassy, we should break this down for our listeners as well. What is a black tie event exactly?
A black tie event is an event that requires some sort of formal attire. For example, men wear suits and women wear dresses predominantly. And examples of these events could be like dinner parties, award ceremonies, weddings, or, the celebrity red carpet events you see on TV.
And if you're someone like me, Kassy, who doesn't attend one of these events very often, it can be really surprising when you go and you see your friends wearing formal clothing, right? If you're like really used to seeing your friends just wear t-shirts and jeans all the time, and then you go to a wedding and everybody's wearing a nice suit or a fancy dress, and you're like, whoa, oh my God, you look totally different, like a new person. So in this kind of situation, we actually compliment people's appearances often.
Yeah, that's right. This example conversation we're going to listen to in a few minutes is exactly like that. It's two friends seeing everybody they know all dressed up, and they're so surprised by it.
And the expressions that we will learn here in this lesson are good to use in this kind of situation where you see regular people dressed up in their best clothes, but it doesn't only have to be used in that situation. We can use these expressions to compliment people in many other areas of life as well. Like, for example, if your friend got a new haircut or a new outfit or a new pair of shoes, some kind of situation like that. Well, why don't we get started by listening to the example conversation?
Let's do it. Charlie, over here. I've been looking all over for you in this crowd.
Claire, wow, this place is massive. You look great.
Thanks. You look pretty spiffy yourself. I don't think I've ever seen you wear a tie.
I know, right? I usually don't like to wear them, but I thought I'd go all out for the occasion.
Well, that color looks so good on you. It really makes your eyes pop.
Aw, come on. Don't make me blush. But seriously, that dress is stunning. You're glowing.
Thanks. I saw it when I was window shopping the other day and I just had to buy it. OMG, is that Owen over there?
Whoa, is that Owen? It totally is. He really cleans up nice, huh? I barely recognized him.
Yeah, that haircut looks great on him. And he trimmed his beard.
Oh, and there's Tracy over there. She's sure making waves with her outfit as well.
Yeah, she looks amazing. I could never pull off a dress like that.
I was a little afraid that this event would be so boring, but it's not so bad.
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty fun seeing everyone all dolled up for the party.
All right, so in that example conversation, we hear two friends talking about a black tie event that they are attending. And as we mentioned in the introduction to this episode, a black tie event is a kind of party where you wear your best clothes, a suit and tie or a fancy dress, something like that. And the two friends are a little bit surprised when they run into each other because they look very different than they usually do. One of the friends, his name is Charlie, he's wearing a suit and a tie, and that's something that he doesn't usually wear. And the other friend, whose name is Claire, is wearing a really amazing, beautiful dress as well. So they both compliment each other on their appearance, and then they kind of chat about some of their other acquaintances that they see walking around in the party room, and they compliment their friends on how amazing they look as well. So Kassy, why don't we go through this conversation again and break down some of the interesting expressions that we heard, because there were so many useful and helpful expressions that we can use in our everyday lives when we compliment people on their appearances in that conversation. What are some of the ones that popped out to you?
There are two that I use probably every day or every other day, not just for fancy events, but just, complimenting someone's everyday outfit that looks nice. And the first one was right at the beginning of the conversation. It's really simple. The phrase is, "You look great."
You look great. Yeah, I use a similar expression usually when I compliment people. And this is maybe a little bit cultural as well. I'd be interested to hear from our listeners about whether they can do this in their countries or not. But I feel like in Canada, and maybe this is the same in the USA as well, Kassy, is that it's better to focus on the parts of somebody's appearance that they can control. So, sometimes we can't really control what our face looks like or what our hair is like or our body size, but we can control our outfit and what we choose to wear. So usually I compliment people on their outfits. So I'll say, "Wow, your jacket looks great on you," or "Your shoes look great," something like that. So I use a very similar expression, but usually I focus on some clothing or an accessory instead of somebody's physical appearance.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit later in the conversation, there was a similar phrase to "you look great," which is "something looks good on you," which is what you mentioned. And this phrase, "to look good on you," can be used for any article of clothing or accessory that you own. So, "That bracelet looks great on you. That new haircut looks so good on you." You can use it in any situation.
Yeah, that's a great one to know as well. Another cool expression that we heard that stood out to me was spiffy. You look pretty spiffy. We heard the character Claire say, "Oh, you look pretty spiffy yourself." And that's probably a word that is new to some of our listeners. The spelling is Spiffy, spiffy. And I feel like this is kind of an old-fashioned word, like maybe it's slang from the 1940s or 1950s. That's just my feeling. I don't know if that's true or not. But we still use it these days from time to time, and it's totally fine to use. Every English speaker will understand the meaning. What does it mean if you look pretty spiffy?
It just means like you looked all dressed up and clean cut and fancy and not your normal self. You're right. It is an older, old-fashioned kind of word, but it's a cute word that people still love to use as kind of ironic or, cutesy talk.
Yeah, absolutely. You just said another great expression there, Kassy, that we should break down. And I think this especially applies to guys. Could apply to everyone, but especially to guys, I think. And that is the expression clean cut. Clean cut. So if you're clean cut, it means you don't look like me because I'm not very clean cut. I know listeners can't see me right now, but I usually have a beard and I haven't really shaved my beard or cleaned it up for a few days. So I have a little bit of stubble and some facial hair. That is not clean cut. Clean cut is the opposite. So usually a clean cut appearance is when you have a shaved face if you're a guy, or if you do have facial hair, it's very neat and tidy and trim and clean looking. That is what clean cut means.
Exactly. I feel like, especially in the past, it was super important to be clean cut. But in modern times, if you have a little bit of scruff, it actually adds to the appeal sometimes. Like people want to look like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to look, like you mentioned earlier, Kassy, at a Hollywood red carpet event, a lot of the actors that would be on that red carpet, I think, wouldn't necessarily be clean cut. Of course, there would be many who are, but there would also be many guys who are not clean cut. So both options are fine, but that's just what the word means. All right, some other cool expressions in this conversation that I noticed were to go all out. To go all out. We heard one of the guys, Charlie, say, he doesn't usually like to wear ties, but he thought he'd go all out for the occasion. So to go all out means to put your best foot forward, to put a lot of effort into making sure that your appearance looks fantastic.
Yeah, we use this expression a lot for costume parties as well. Like Halloween time, if you wear this really intricate, amazing costume, people say, like, wow, you went all out this year.
Mm-hmm. And in fact, we can use it to talk about other things as well. Whenever you put a lot of effort really into doing anything, right? Like if you were trying to break your personal record at a marathon. I know I always use marathon examples, but it's a good one, right? In order to break your personal record, you would have to go all out. You would have to put all of your effort into breaking your record. And you can also use it to talk about your appearance. If you really try to look the best you can look, well, then you have gone all out into making yourself look the best possible.
The next phrase I want to talk about is something that you hear a lot of girls say, especially when talking about makeup, but it's kind of a weird phrase in English if you don't know what it means. And that is to make your eyes pop.
To make your eyes pop. Yeah, it sounds almost disgusting, like your eyes are blowing up, and nobody wants that. But that's not what it means, right? Could you break it down for us, Kassy? What does it mean if your eyes pop?
Yeah, sure. So usually we use the phrase like a pop of color, which means you add just a little bit of color to something and it makes something else's color even more vibrant, like a background color that just brings your facial features forward. So in this case, Claire says that Charlie's tie color looks so good on him and it makes his eyes pop. Maybe he has really beautiful blue eyes and his tie emphasizes his blue eyes and make them even more vibrant.
Another expression that we use when talking about appearance and clothing and eyes is it brings out the color in your eyes. Brings out the color in your eyes, which just means that the clothing matches your eye color well. So it's a good fit. And yeah, this is another way that we compliment people on their appearance, is saying that their clothes match their eyes, or that the clothing that they wear really makes their eye color more noticeable, and just means like you look good with those clothes on. Makes your face look more appealing.
I like how you mentioned earlier that it might be a little scary or risky to make compliments about someone's appearance. For example, if they don't have traditional beauty standards or something. But one thing I love about dressing up fancy is that you can give true and genuine and wonderful compliments to someone. And even if they feel insecure, they could feel confident about their look if they dress fancier than usual. So there's so many expressions that we can use to make someone feel extra handsome and extra beautiful by focusing on the clothing that they wear and accentuating how great they dressed for that evening. 2 words that were used in this episode were stunning and you are glowing to talk about Claire's dress. But there are so many other expressions you could use to talk about someone's over-the-top beautiful outfit, like gorgeous, glamorous, beautiful. Can you think of some others, Andrew?
Yeah, any adjective like that, Kassy, magnificent, amazing, fantastic, right? We can use all of these really strong adjectives that essentially mean very, very good or very, very beautiful to compliment somebody's outfit. Absolutely. And I really like the expression that we heard in the conversation, you're glowing, you're glowing. Because, when I think especially we use this to describe women more than guys, but these days we can describe anybody. It's okay. They're not really super gendered, but I think usually we do use it to describe women. That being said, you're glowing just means you have this great atmosphere, this great vibe around you. You look so happy in these fancy clothes at this special event for this special occasion. You're giving off this really good, radiant energy. So I really think that is a lovely expression. And I think if somebody said to me, "Oh, Andrew, you're glowing," I'd feel very nice. Like that would be a nice thing to hear.
Yeah, it makes you glow more inside. Your heart warms up.
Yeah, I think so. It's like it feeds into that energy, right? You'd start even glowing more and more.
Yeah, especially when you put a lot of effort into your outfit. Even if you're not vain and digging for compliments, it makes you feel good and validated. Like, yeah, I put in an extra hour into this outfit. I'm happy. I'm getting some feedback on it.
I think especially we would use an expression like this to compliment somebody on their special occasion. So if you go to a wedding, you would compliment the bride and say, "You're glowing." It would be a little bit awkward, like at a wedding, to compliment one of the other attendees of the wedding, right? You want to focus on the bride. That's her special day. Or, if it's like somebody's birthday party and they're having a really special birthday party, you say, "You're glowing." But it's like a compliment that you would perhaps want to reserve for the VIP of the day.
That's a good point, Andrew.
Some other interesting expressions that we heard in this conversation were making waves. Charlie, the guy in the conversation, he said, "Wow, there is Tracy over there and she's really making waves," which means she's really making a big impact with her outfit, right? People are maybe turning their heads and being like, "Wow, who's that beautiful woman over there?" "Wow, amazing. That outfit is noticeable." I mean, it could be good or bad, right? We don't really know. You could be making waves because your outfit is so horrible or so unique or so beautiful, all of these situations, but it just means that it is having a huge impact among the other party guests.
Exactly. Speaking of not being sure if it's a compliment or not, I remember a few years ago when Lady Gaga started to become famous and she wore the most unique, insane outfits. And she definitely was making waves on social media platforms with her dresses.
You could think of like an ocean going from a very calm state to a very stormy, wavy state. So it goes from just being like calm to super, super agitated, right? Maybe that's the same atmosphere in the party. The party might be just kind of calm and people are just mingling with each other. And then Tracy arrives and everybody's like, "Oh my God." And that could be either good or bad. We don't know, but she's making waves. She's created some excitement in the party.
Yes. Right after making waves was brought up in the example conversation, the next sentence also had a cool phrasal verb, which is to pull off something. In this case, Claire said she could never pull off a dress like Tracy's. This phrase is used to talk about, successfully being able to do something. In this case, Claire thinks that Tracy's dress is so cool, but she doesn't have the confidence or maybe the knowledge of how to wear that kind of dress successfully. So she can't pull off the dress.
Yeah, there's just some clothing that some people feel uncomfortable wearing or that they couldn't wear. They don't have enough confidence to wear that style of clothing. For example, I don't think that I could pull off wearing a Speedo to the beach.
You could totally do it, Andrew.
I mean, I could do it, and maybe as I get older, I'd feel more confident because it seems like the people who usually wear Speedos to the beach are middle-aged men. But yeah, right now, I don't think I could do it. I couldn't pull it off. I'd feel too embarrassed. Kassy, are there any pieces of clothing that you wouldn't feel comfortable pulling off?
So many. I'm pretty boring when it comes to clothes. But I love telling others who are wearing edgy or unique clothes how well they pull it off. If a friend got a really cool, flaming, hot pink hairstyle, I'd be like, wow, you pull that off so well.
Yeah, it's really interesting now that I'm thinking of this expression because it could be very confusing for learners, right? You think of pull off as meaning remove, but in this instance, it actually means to put on and wear something really well. So it almost has the opposite meaning of what it looks like on the surface. But just to make it clear, listeners, to pull off an outfit or to pull off wearing a piece of clothing means to wear it really, really well and really, really confidently. Okay, Kassy, there is one more expression that I wanted to focus on here before we wrap up and sign off. And that expression is to be dolled up or to get all dolled up. And dolled, just to spell it here for everyone, is DOLLED. And up, the preposition UP. So when we put them together, dolled up. What does it mean to get dolled up or to get all dolled up?
It's kind of similar in terms of appearance to go all out. To get all dolled up is to dress in your very best clothing. And I'm guessing this expression comes from, like actual dolls. They dress in super cute outfits with their makeup. So to get all dolled up is to make yourself look cute and appealing like a doll.
Mm-hmm. And correct me if I'm wrong, Kassy, but my understanding of this expression is that we also use it to talk about putting on a lot of makeup or to do your makeup in a way that's different from your regular style.
Yeah, it could be too. Or like a fancy updo when you put your hair up in these cool curls and fancy configurations.
Yeah, you get your hair styled in a really special and unique way that's different than your regular hairstyle. And again, these days we can use expressions to talk about anyone, but traditionally this expression is usually used mostly to describe women. I've never in my life heard anybody tell me, oh, Andrew, you got all dolled up. That's something I've never heard in my life.
The only time I might think about it is if like a grandma said it to her grandson who was wearing a cute little tie-in suit. Like, oh, Johnny, look at you all dolled up.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, now that I hear it in that context, it could happen, but it's not the default expression that we would use. We'd probably say something like, you look spiffy or you look great or one of the other expressions that we heard today instead.
You look so dapper this evening.
Yeah, you look so dapper, which again just means really formal and clean cut and fancy. Something like that would be more natural to use. We're almost at the end of today's episode, but before we go, let's summarize what we covered.
Okay, so today we learned all about how to compliment someone on their outfit or appearance.
Yeah, and we learned some useful phrases that you can use when giving compliments, such as, that looks great on you, you look stunning, and spiffy.
We also learned phrases like to go all out, to make waves, and it makes your eyes pop.
And finally, we learn the expression to get all dolled up, which is a phrase that we use to talk about putting on fancy and stylish clothes for a special occasion. So everyone, that'll bring us to the end of this episode for today. Thank you for listening. We hope you learned a lot with us.
Our website is Culips.com. If you want to get the study guide, including the transcript and practice exercises for this episode, check out the website to download it.
Becoming a Culips member is a great way to support us, but it's not the only way. You could also support us by leaving us a 5-star rating and a nice review on your favorite podcast app, telling your friends who are learning English about Culips, or by following us on social media.
We'll be back soon with another brand new episode. Talk to you then.
Bye.